Whispers of the Past. On the edge of the English countryside, nestled between rolling hills and centuries-old trees, stood an abandoned railway station called Rosewood Halt. Locals often spoke of the place in whispers, not because of ghosts, but because of a love story that time had forgotten. Clara Bennett, a historian from London in her late 20s, arrived in Rosewood for a research project. She had always been fascinated by forgotten places and the hidden stories they held. As she walked through the rusted gates of Rosewood Halt, the ivy-covered station seemed to welcome her with silent nostalgia. Inside the station office, she found old schedules, faded letters, and a dusty journal. The journal belonged to a young station master named Thomas Whitmore from the 1940s. As she flipped through its pages, Clara became captivated by his words, but even more by the way he wrote about a woman named Evelyn. Evelyn Parker was a singer who used to travel by train every Thursday to perform in nearby towns. Their first meeting had been by chance. She had dropped her music sheets on the platform, and Thomas had helped gather them. From that day on, he waited for her train every week, just to catch a glimpse of her smile. Their love grew quietly, hidden between the timetables and telegrams. Letters passed between them in secret, their words full of longing and promise. But in 1942, Evelyn stopped coming. There were no more letters, no goodbyes. Thomas had waited every Thursday for a year, standing by the tracks as the trains passed, hoping. Eventually, he left the station, and the place was closed soon after. Clara couldn't let the story go. She searched through archives, town records, and local legends. After weeks of research, she discovered that Evelyn had been injured in a bombing in London and was presumed dead. But further digging revealed she had survived and had lived in a small cottage on the outskirts of Rosewood until her death in 1989. In a twist of fate, Clara also discovered something even more unexpected. She was Evelyn's granddaughter. Her mother, born out of wedlock, had been put up for adoption and never knew the truth. Suddenly, this wasn't just history, it was her family story. Driven by emotion and curiosity, Clara restored the station's garden, placed a bench by the tracks, and held a small ceremony in memory of Thomas and Evelyn, two souls separated by war, but forever united in memory. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Clara sat on the bench with Thomas's journal in her hands. A man approached, Henry, a local architect who had helped with the station's restoration. "I've seen you here often," he said gently. "Reading. Remembering." Clara smiled. "It's strange. I came looking for history, and I found love." Henry sat beside her. "Maybe, it's your turn now." As the sky turned violet and the train tracks glowed with the last light of day, Clara realized that the past had led her here, not to dwell in sorrow, but to discover something new. Love, whispered through time, had not only told her a story, it had written her into one. Where the river meets the sky. In a small town nestled between endless fields of sunflowers and a gently winding river, lived a girl named Elena. She was a painter, known for her vibrant skies and tranquil waters that seemed to breathe with life. Every morning, she would sit by the riverbank with her easel, chasing colors the way others chased dreams. Across town, there lived a quiet young man named Lucas, a former pilot who had returned home after an accident grounded his wings. With a limp in his step and shadows in his eyes, Lucas spent most days at the old town library where he worked in silence, cataloging books and watching the world from behind dusty windows. One spring morning, Elena came into the library to search for a book about the Northern Lights. Lucas, always alert to new visitors, noticed her immediately. She had paint on her fingers and curiosity in her eyes. "I'm looking for something magical," she said. He smiled slightly. "Then you've come to the right shelf." That day, they talked for hours, about stars, rivers, books, and dreams. Over the following weeks, Elena would return more frequently, not always for books, but for Lucas. They would sit together by the library's window, talking softly, the lights going in like golden secrets. But Lucas held back. His heart had learned to be cautious. He believed he was broken, that someone like Elena, who painted skies and chased light, deserved someone whole. One afternoon, Elena invited him to her studio. "I want to paint something different," she said. "But I need your eyes." Lucas hesitated, but followed. Her studio was full of half-finished canvases and the smell of oil paint. On one blank canvas, she asked him to describe the last thing he saw before his plane crashed. He closed his eyes. The sky was wide, like the ocean. Blue, but heavy. Then I saw the river below, winding, glittering. I remember thinking, if I had to fall, at least it was somewhere beautiful. Elena painted that memory, the sky meeting the river, a single bird flying free. That night, she said gently, "You're not broken, Lucas. You're just learning to fly again." Their bond deepened, slow and patient like the flow of the river. They took walks in silence, danced under stars, and read poetry aloud beneath lanterns hung in her backyard. He taught her how to see stories in the clouds. She taught him how to find beauty in brokenness. But life, like rivers, sometimes floods. Elena received an offer to study in Paris for a year, a dream come true, but a goodbye all the same. Lucas smiled when she told him, though his heart trembled. "You have to go," he said. "The sky's been calling you." She reached out and held his hand. "Only if you promise to be here when I come back." He nodded. "I'll be here. Waiting. And flying." A year passed. Elena sent postcards of skies and cathedrals, of paintings and poems. Lucas wrote back with updates about the library, the town, and how he finally started to paint, just small things, clouds mostly. When she returned, the town felt the same, but the moment she saw Lucas standing by the river, with a canvas in his hand and a smile in his eyes, she knew everything had changed. He had painted her, standing beneath the sky, with her heart wide open like a sunflower. She ran to him, tears in her eyes. "You waited. I promised." And as the sun dipped behind the hills and the sky turned gold, they kissed, right where the river met